Hey, this is Shaun with the Atlanta Tennis Podcast, powered by Go Tennis. Check out our calendar of Metro Atlanta tennis events at letsgotennis.com, where you can get some awesome stuff. And also, you can see the entire calendar, Alta, USTA, T2, all the major leagues, all in the same place. It's fantastic. Check it out. This month and for the next few months, we want to hear your story. So go to letsgotennis.com/my story. Have a story to tell. I've got my story in the city finals where I hit my tweener and I made it and it was amazing and everybody was cheering. I lost the match, by the way, so nobody cares. But it's a fun story to tell and I want to hear your story. Atlanta wants to hear your story. letsgotennis.com/my story. Today, right now, is 10 minutes of tennis with world-renowned tennis pro Australian in Puerto Rico, Justin Yeo. He is on location today. He was on the court. He now looks like he's driven his golf cart on the court. Yeah, we'll figure that out later. But Justin, thank you so much for making time. We are talking about time. You're making time. How do we take away time? How do we gain time? What does that mean in today's modern game? Today's modern tennis game is all about time. Justin, what are we talking about?
Yeah, so we've already talked about this once before about time, learning how to take the ball earlier, take the ball on the rise, take time away from your opponent. We've talked about this, but the one thing we haven't talked about is the game has increased in speed between racket to racket, and people still aren't doing enough of understanding that. And by doing that, you start to identify when you should come in, when you can't come in, what kind of ball you need to give yourself enough time to get to the net. And what we have to identify is foot speed as well. But the one other thing that we haven't talked about, I'm going to cover both of these, is the second one is watching the racket to give you more time to process faster, make an earlier decision, get your preparation earlier, and still meet the ball early to take away time from your opponent. Okay, so there's all these factors that, again, come from reading from the eyes, because eyes have to be told what to do. If you stand there, you think you're watching, but you're actually just watching the ball come over the net. By doing that, you're actually slowing things down and you're not giving yourself processing time to be able to prepare early enough, make a quick decision, and then go. So a lot of pros, the reason why they look like they've got plenty of time is because they're reading the person. By the time they turn their body, position their feet, strike the ball, they've already seen all the way you're going before you strike the ball. So that has given them time. All right. So that's what all players could do more of, is watching the player, watching the racket. I always say watch the racket because that's at least the start. If someone's watching the player too much, commonly the ball will come back and they'll hit the ball right back to the player because it's the last thing they looked at. All right. So the best thing to do is watch the racket, and you start to identify spin more. You start to identify depth. You'd start to identify power or speed because the racket's going slower or faster. So there's all these factors. By watching the racket, you're getting a little bit of processing time earlier that allows you to prepare earlier or maybe even take advantage. So that's the one factor. The second factor that I wanted to talk about is the time between racket to racket. That has sped up in the last few generations, and we all think that we're like, yeah, I want to hit a ball faster. I want the ball faster, and I can hit the ball faster. Yeah, but that also takes away time. And when that takes away time, it takes away, better decision making or rushing of the contact point, or not being able to get to the net. And you're like, what the hell happened to my volley? Well, there's nothing wrong with the volley. It's just you haven't got as much time from baseline to service line as you used to have 2 generations ago. The great Vic Braden brought this up many years ago, that we have to get rid of the split step in the middle of the court and work on a reaction step, which is 1 foot, then the second foot. And that's going to compensate for the less time we have to be able to get to net, and especially in singles, or you're just trying to attack the net in doubles. Your baseline to the service line, because we've lost time from racket to racket with power rackets, poly strings, the ball coming faster, all of that, we only have a certain amount of foot speed from baseline to service line. If you split step there, you're going to be stuck on the next volley because you're not far enough into the court to get to the second volley. So what he proved is that you could come in and split step on one foot, direct that foot, and drive into the next ball standing on the next foot and still be on the net by the second volley. And he's the one that created that and made people realize, because we lost time from baseline to baseline, racket to racket. He showed that, the players are between 0.9 and 1.2 seconds between racket to racket. All right. So when that happens, that's how much time you've got to get in. But the players doing it now, and if you want to watch them, you'll see they don't split too often anymore, 2 feet in the middle of the court. They literally are running one step, two step, and they're on top of the net. Nadal was famous at that one. So anyway, that's all being correlated around time. And people don't understand why they can't get to the net. A lot of that's because of the time between racket to racket.
So you're saying the pros have less time between racket to racket. Does that translate down to you and me, and then also across to
100%.
the amateur player? Are you saying the amateur player also has less time because of the new technology and because of how things have changed?
100%. The players are only just faster at processing things in a short space of time, versus us as amateurs, we need longer time, right? So they're faster at running from corner to corner and recover and still making decision-making and doing all of that stuff. They're just faster at it than what we are, right? Their processing time is faster. So, it's all still the same amount of stuff. We still have to move to the ball, make a decision, strike, recover, and then get ready for the next one, right? So they're just faster at it. So again, if we talk about time, you're talking about processing time. Their processes are just so much faster than the amateur player.
But in that case, they're processing faster, they're hitting it faster. They say they have the same problems we do. It's just at a different speed.
100%. That's why we have a level of 2.5, 3.0, 3.5, 4.0, 4.5.
Right.
Most people have always asked me what the difference between 4.0 and 4.5. I keep saying it's one more shot.
Sure.
It's the easiest way to look at it. Like, if I'm a 4.0 player, do I have to hit the ball harder to be 4.5? Actually, no. You just need to be able to hit one more shot.
Make one more ball.
And if you can have two more shots, maybe you're a winner at 4.5.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So wrapping it up, I want to go back to your first statement, because we get the time between rackets, and there's not really anything we can do about that without more experience and just getting used to that time and practicing those things. But the question of watching the racket, that's what I want you to finish me off with, the racket that I'm watching. So what I've got to do is I've got to watch the racket hit the ball. I got to keep my head down on contact, so I'm losing sight of the ball. Now, as the ball crosses the net, you want me to look up and watch my opponent and watch the racket to
predict all I'm talking about.
What they're about to hit the ball, to try to learn what they're about to do, which means I'm not looking at the ball. As soon as they hit the ball, now I've got to start moving. Is now the time, finally, when that bumper sticker tennis coach says, keep your eye on the ball? Yeah. Am I now finally actually looking at the ball? Is that advice that bumper sticker going away?
Okay, let's make something very clear. When a ball's coming towards you, you're looking at the damn ball. The ball is not something you have to focus on, right? So the ball is not something you have to focus on. You focus on the racket. If you do, you already pick up on what the ball's doing. Okay, and then when the ball's coming, you're automatically making processing and decisions quickly in your feet, deciding a tactic, making a decision or committing to a target. There's all of those factors that are happening milliseconds faster because you watch the racket, and you will always see the ball. I mean, that whole thing of the bumper sticker, focusing on the ball, when a ball's being struck as a tennis player, you're looking at the ball. I'd like a bumper sticker to say, see the court, see the ball. See the court, see the ball. Because most people don't see the court and see the ball, right? and they don't look for the broad vision and the narrow vision, right? So they're looking for the court. Now they've lost the ball, right? Or they're watching the ball and they now have no target because can't see the court. See? So the bumper sticker should be see the court, see the ball, right? But see the racket first to save you time.
I like it. Justin Yo, this has been 10 Minutes of Tennis. We'll see you again next week. Thanks, mate.
See you soon, mate.